Welcome back to Apex Alchemy. Today I want to cover the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I carried it exclusively for 31 days. You see that? We'll cover that in a second. There's 5 things I love about this knife. There's 5 things I hate about this knife. Let's not waste any more of your time. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I love about this knife is, 1, this knife is a Spyderco. The reason number 1 that I love the knife is because it's a Spyderco. We know what to expect when we get a Spyderco. It's just like you know what to expect whenever you're eating at McDonald's. You don't eat at McDonald's because you expect the fanciest burger. You don't eat at McDonald's necessarily because it's the most affordable place to eat. I know it's cheap, but it's not like, you know, there's you can eat ramen noodles, can't you? You know, there's cheaper things you can eat. The thing that brings you to McDonald's is because it's uniform. It's you know what to expect. It's mediocrity at its best. Well, it's not mediocrity at its best. It's mediocrity, and there's nothing gonna be. There's no surprises. You know, it is what it is. So the first thing I love about the thing is it's Spyderco. You know, it's built well. Got premium materials, G10 scales. I have my premium materials for the price range, I would say. The G10 scales used to be much more aggressive, and now they're not so much, and that's great. You know, like they're wearing in nicely, but they're still not like slick and smooth. The knife fits very well in the hand. Just about in any kind of grip that you want to work with, it's going to be there for you. The first thing I hate about the knife, though, consequently, is that it's a Spyderco. There's nothing special about it. Unless you're, you know, if Spydercos are special to you, that's fine. But just about all Spydercos have some sort of uniform type of shape and design going on, and there's nothing that's gonna, you know, when you make your purchase and you open your box, nothing's gonna stand out and scream out, "Hey, man, this knife is extremely different than the other Spyderco that you own." Number 2. The second thing I love about the Spyderco is the fact that there are accessories that are available for Spyderco. Like, if I wanted to put titanium scales on this thing, I can. If we want to buy different colored anodized hardware or whatever, if that was going to be something that we wanted to do, we could. And for that reason, I was able to find a Lynch style clip. I don't think this is actually a Lynch clip. I got this clip for about 25 bucks on eBay, but I can't remember who the seller was. It probably is not a tradition, like a true Lynch clip, but it's based off of that style. It is titanium, but I like the fact that it's customizable. You can mod it to be your own, and Spyderco is a great platform to do that. Number 2 hate, though, is kind of goes hand in hand. Is like, you know, I wasn't really all that crazy about the stock standard pocket clip. Not that it didn't work; it worked fine. It was nice and tight, but not too tight. You know, it was. It did leave a little bit to be desired, in my opinion. The stock clip, and I should have it here to show you. 1 second. Stock clip was much like what you see on the Endura. You know, it leaves a little bit hanging out of the pocket. That's really not that big of a deal to me anymore. It used to be a huge deal, but I don't know. It's not a very attractive clip. It doesn't flow well, in my opinion. So the clip was one of the things that I hate about it. Not and all these hates, man, take them lightly. It's not a hate thing. It'll never prevent me from buying the knife or expecting the knife to perform poorly because of something that I might not find as attractive as something else that's offered. My number 3 love about the Spyderco may not come as a surprise. It's the action. The action's nice. The blade centering is pretty smooth. I'm sorry, the blade centering is pretty perfect. The opening is nice and smooth with that reverse flick and with the thumb flick as well. It's fine. There's only one mode. One opening option that you have. So there's that, you know, which is fine. You know, like there's nothing wrong with just having one way to open the knife as long as that way works, right? You know, the third hate that I have is the action, in a way. Like the closing, I don't like bounce back. It's why I avoid button locks almost exclusively. Like I really hate whenever I go to close the knife, it either doesn't shut all the way. Well, that time it did okay, right? or it bounces back. And that's got something to do with the compression lock. You hold it in too long and you're gonna get a lot of bounce back. So if I open my knife 50 to 60 times during a work day and I close my knife 50 to 60 times in a work day, I have 50 or 60 times to make sure the knife closed. And that could just be me, but I figure I should be used to it by now. Sometimes I get it to work, but it's not consistent. All right, let's move on. Fourth thing I love about the Spyderco is the size. It's right there in the same wheelhouse as a lot of other knives that I like to carry. I do like to carry a rat. Call me boring. That's fine. It's right there in that same territory as the rat. It just fits my hand great whenever I need to work. I got similar grip options if you want to like use that 2-finger thing going on. It's a little bit more comfortable with the Spyderco than it is the Ontario, just because of the nature of the ergonomics. But it is possible to do the 2-finger thing with the Ontario as well. And so it's just the size, the weight, everything is pretty comfortable, man. It's there's nothing to complain about when it comes to the size, except for the fourth thing that I'm not too crazy about is the blade to handle ratio. Well, you can see when we close the knife, there just could have been a little bit more. Not a lot more, but it could have been a little bit more. And maybe it doesn't need to be more, because really in practice, it works fine. You know, there's plenty of blade there. To be exact, you got just a tad over 3-inch blade, maybe about a 3 1/4 inch blade. And that'll take us to the fifth thing I love and hate about Spyderco. The fifth thing I love about this Spyderco Paramilitary 2 is the fact that, man, this was $178 and it's an S90V. So I love the fact that Spyderco does make it easy for dealers to have like exclusives. Like no matter where you go, man, like which store you go to, most of the time they're going to have a Paramilitary 2 or a Shaman or a Para 3 or numerous knives in their lineups. You'll be able to buy exclusives in different steels, and that's great, man, because it gives you an opportunity to play around with those different steels. And you know, having an S90V Paramilitary 2 for $178, and this was a DLT exclusive, by the way. It left me in a good spot, man. You know, I very much enjoy having the knife, and I very much enjoyed using the knife, and I'm glad it's available. The availability of all the different varieties and options that you have, that's something Spyderco kind of specializes in, and you know, like almost exclusively, right? I mean, I can't think of another brand that comes out with the same model knife with so many different features and options for blade steel. But that does bring me to the fifth thing that I hate about the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and S90V, and that is the edge come very burnt. This knife's been sharpened once, and it was put on there by Lacey. You see that they had to take a lot. She had to take a lot of edge off of the knife in order to be able to get past the burn. She communicated this with me, and that was fine. You know, like, you know, yeah, I told her, she was like, I can get past all the burn, but it's gonna take off probably a 1/16 of an inch, and that's probably 4 or 5 sharpenings worth in order to be able to get past that burn. And I told her to go ahead and do her thing. I trusted her, and I did, and I do. I still do. Bad thing about it is is that most of my work happens between here and here, like so for the tip and maybe an inch of the cutting edge, and that portion of the blade is extremely dull. S90V is not I'm not saying it's a hard steel to sharpen, and Paramilitary 2s are probably not hard knives to sharpen, but I am going to have to buy some diamonds in order to be able to touch it up. It is beyond stropping after 31 days of use, and that's where we stand. And in those 31 days of use, it was 28 days of harder use. You know, like in my records, I go back and look at it, and 28 days. I had three or 4 days, or 3 days. I had 3 days of pretty lax, minimal cutting task. So 28 days of regular to hard use, and the knife's dull. You know, it still can cut paper from here to there, but it can't cut paper from here to here anymore. Like, so I've had better performing S35VN. Take that and do what you want to with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the S90V. What I'm saying is, with the edge that we chose to put on there, which is 17 degrees per side, it wasn't the best performing steel. And to be fair, I've carried the knife before that, and I used the knife before that, but I was always able to strop it back into shape. This time I did not intentionally strop the knife back into shape after each week. I wanted to see how long it would take it to get dull without being able to run it across the strop and getting it back to where it was. Anyway, overall, I think the Paramilitary 2 is a fabulous knife. It's a great choice. If you need a good work knife or just something to fiddle around with in the woods, if you need a carver, the Paramilitary 2 has got your back. That's why so many of them sell. And it's not a bad decision. It's a great decision, like no matter who you are, pretty much, and no matter what kind of environment you're going to find yourself in. This is a very tactical knife in the sense of it has various fields of what do you call it, man? Uses, I guess you would say. Like, you can use this in various walks of life. And that's what makes a knife tactical to me. It's not a single, it's not a butter knife. You're not just going to use it to spread butter on toast or whatever. Butter knife's not tactical. But most pocket knives are going to be, tactical in that sense. But, okay, I love it. Overall, the hates are not that bad. There's nothing about the knife that I hate so much that I wouldn't buy another one. If this one got stolen, I would absolutely replace it. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, we do have a membership thing going on. We've made it to that point where we can have members, and obviously we have a Patreon member giveaway going on for a Chris Reeves knife of some sort. That will be Patreon member voted, and we're almost at our 750 subscriber giveaway. There will be a video covering that later. Will pop out today or tomorrow. This is Sunday, so if you're viewing this on Sunday, look for a video later explaining all the giveaway stuff and the membership details, and we will catch you on the flip side.